stay doing it. He's going to be consistent. The bomb. Period. You know what? Outside, New York City. It's the home of the Mecca.
Attention, please wear your earphones. Test begins in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world premiere of We Are Venom.
This is kinda fresh, not a flex. Original music out the X. I'm a different kind of special. This is not a
test.
This that dizzy flow, let the city know. This that Darius, this that where'd he go. This that different glow, this that Billy go. This that we are Venom, this that symbiote. Did I misconfuse you? Let me introduce you. This is crucial, but we are Venom. I'm representing for my people that took some losses. Now we came to win, now let us begin. Classes in session, the teachers instructing. Got me a master's in reaping destruction. All the blessings we receive is abundant. We counting that bread and we keep it 100. This is that hit while you speed on the highway. Foot on the gas with this demon beside me. She keep looking at me like she wanna swallow my flow and speak out there and she's a Somali. Different kind of special, they say I'm retarded. I keep my mind and heart sacredly guarded. New York City, the home of the Mecca. I'm straight from the BX, the place where it started. Put the trash to rest, you don't have to guess. I had to tap into my greatness. Become a different master and I passed the
test.
Finals is my destination. This is refined innovation. This proper representation came to provide inspiration. Hip hop is our celebration. Go! When I first got knocked, it was looking bad. Now I'm free and home and they looking sad. They confusing, they see that we cruising. We just keep it moving and get to the bag. They say he retarded, but he don't write. So if it's a song of his, then the genius started. But the thing about it, I don't only rap.
What you mean?
I used to be an artist, got in graphic arts when I ain't had the smarts. Always had to drive it, never had the parts. Always had the talent, mixed with hella passion. I was never Kevin, I just had the heart. Now my rap is art. I got my appeal with some jumper cables, that's a brand new start. Had me out of sight, I was in the dark. Never found a switch, I just had the spark. They say we blessed from the way we finesse. No, we straight from the X and we stay representing the different kind of flavors. We are Venom with the flow that's gonna make you remember my name. It's delivery with consistency, creativity, versatility. They just silly to think that we really not kicking the door down to get in the game.
I saved it with the palm of my hand for the culture. We doing all that we can for the culture. I save it with the palm of my hand.
Thinking back, how did I do that? Res kid, down to go through it. How did they do when I studied to learn? Paid the new path where they waited for turn. Had to get over my youth before presenting my proof. Evidence back for the elements, turning nobody to relevant. Riverside border school killer shit. Oceanside native course regiment. Divided functions, come and get some. Complex unusuals, ever too fun. Had to get over my ego, cerebral addicted, predicted to fail. But now it's a sale where brothers in L. Blowing smoke in the abyss. From the potent days to my current ways, I've always looked out for the crew. Miami to ABQ, they don't make them like me and my dudes. Or maybe they do, sorry I missed the egg I'm in motion. Building these bridges, connecting the coast like Panama. Seeing my way, panorama, bruh. Used to be bitches like Damager, but now they can't fuck with my manager. Families stay golden like children of older. Nobody can hold them on planet Earth. I expand like the fro do. Reach like I'm supposed to. Put on for the community and all my people close to. Break through with great news. I wish for you and yours. Sincerely, Egg Rex. See you all when we on tour. Yo, for the culture, bro.
We doing all that we can for the culture. I saved it with the palm of my hand for the culture. We doing all that we can for the culture. I save it with the palm of my hand.
I see the importance of spirituality. I constantly reiterate as the true me before the new me. I reinstate present and past reflections has me and myself face to face. The ego's so easy to agitate. From a day's worth of waves of virtual vibrations that I generate. Outsiders and doubt providers can't seem to penetrate. You lose your family, they wanna fly straight, but then it's late. Now what you ought to do, imitate addiction. My soldiers stay high, won't remember what was their mission. Rappers keep it real, but won't survive because of fiction. A true brother tells truths when them brothers rhyme. Keep them business mind, never waste another's time. Praise to God, he could prosper before his mother's time. The ladder of success, couldn't care what color climbs. I'm chatting.
We doing all that we can for the culture. I saved it with the palm of my hand for the culture. We doing all that we can for the culture. I saved it with the palm of my hand for the culture, the craft. I'm known to accomplish a code of a brother that go for the prize. A wonderful task to go for the audience, ambience, hearing my people to climb deep in the mind with a cornea connect to my sight where I be like the butterfly effect. When I breathe through lungs inside my chest, I'm eager to run for the Heisman Trophy. I've been coping through the commotion. Yes, I keep it cool, but don't come close to me. Test my mood, don't try me. I'm hoping I bless my food before I go indulge in it. When I see an opening, I'm going fast forward for the moment of my truth, like Gangstar Tune. I make my moves, I speed right off. I paid my dues. I believe that I got what it takes to commit to the journey of a lyricist that gave all the full strength of a boulder with the persistence, distance of a brother that bring in a beautiful plethora of a beater. I'm not put you in the mood. I gotta think of something fly to loop it up and fly me to Jupiter. Tie it up. Why am I even? I am be the time to commute with the peasant that has him no passion. The present and future and past tense. Any rumor I could dance against while many maneuver their last breath. Peace, I've been along. He's in the intercom trees. I hit the bomb beats. I've been upon peace. I spin upon no beef. Get along. Pro speak. Hella calm. Home piece. Step it off. Known to be hella boss. Zone in the helicopter. Roll with the repertoire for the upper echelon. Like Neo in the Matrix. I decode with the greatest gift of them all. For the culture. We doing all that we can for the culture. I saved it with the palm of my hand for the culture. We doing all that we can for the culture. I saved it with the palm of my hand for the culture.
To help us save the culture. Understand it is a culture. It's a way of life, way of life.
Put my whole life inside this pen I grit. I cry to God at night cause he the only one who understands the things that I be dealing with. I grew up told that men don't cry, confused on how to deal with it. So I took the rage and built with it. They lowered my mama's casket and everything I feel with it. So my rule, if I pull this thing out to try and kill with it. So as I stand today in peace, it's funny how I'm still triggered, but I refuse to be stuck in places like a still picture. I gave everything, my everything, but y'all don't get the picture. Snakes bit me time and time again. Watch you build with you. It's no growth if every damn year the same shoes fit you. Real ones down to take a chance, shake dice and lose with your hood. Say you Hollywood, very moment you move bigger. Depressed, feeling alone in a full room or consume liquor. Gift and the curse, I've been in the mix of the worst. This is therapeutic, so it's me that you get every verse. In the form of anger management, I murder these words. I never gave it to nobody less the shit was deserved. I got a lot of questions, and damn it, I need the answers. Like where the hell's your standards? Broke once, had to steal cause she couldn't buy no Pampers. Meanwhile, deadbeat dad was flossing all his money late night, tricking off with dances. Kids never got the chance to be the modern day Huxtables. As products of the environment, how y'all so comfortable?
I was forced in the fire, so I don't feel the pain. I pray to God when I die, he grant me some way. Knives in my back, got my shirt full of stains. Complain from work, I say no sympathy for a king. Oh yeah, ain't no sympathy for a king. Forced in the fire, I don't feel the pain. I pray when I die, he grants me the ways. Complain from work, I say no sympathy for a king. No sympathy for a king.
check, mic check. Holla to the Kings, holla to the Queens, and everybody in between. I'm your host, Radio. Hold on. Feel like. Holla to the King. There we go. I sound a little normal now. Holla to the Kings, holla to the Queens, and everybody in between. I'm your host, Radio Faheem, and you are listening to On the Rise, New Kemet Radio's weekday morning show, where you won't hear any other person playing the hottest and underground and independent music other than your boy here, because that's what I spent the last 10 years of my life looking for. How y'all doing? TGIF. It is Friday. Anybody remember that what was that shorty's name? Something Black? Rebecca Black? Was it Rebecca Black? It's Friday, Friday. Anybody remember that? Yeah, that shit used to be annoying. Now I ain't gonna lie, every time it's Friday, I either her or fucking Katy Perry comes on. And then I think of the movie. Damn, there's a lot of things about there's a few things about Fridays. Making us wish for the weekend even longer, right? But first and foremost, how y'all doing, fam? I know. I'm running a little late today. So today's gonna be a little bit of a shorter show than usual, but we're gonna still keep our regular flow of how we do things. But because today is going to be a little bit of a shorter show, I thought I'd introduce um, my stance and views on a few things, on a couple of maybe one, maybe two or three topics that are very serious topics in this day and age, and not even this day and age, but in like forever. They've been very serious topics, but nobody has really taken the real time to look and say, hey, these are things that, and I can't say nobody. I can't say nobody. The majority, those that need to, have never really taken the time to say, hey, we need to take a look at these things and really address these issues. So we got a couple of topics coming today. I don't want to say it because I don't want to turn anybody off. Some topics may this is going to be my viewer discretion, I guess, right? Some topics may be sensitive. Some topics may be triggering. Some topics may make you feel any range of the emotions on the emotional spectrum. But I want you to know that it's okay, right? It's okay to come across um, topics that make you feel uncomfortable. It's okay to have conversations about things that make you feel uncomfortable, because this is how we grow, not just as individuals, but as a species. As human beings, this is how we grow. This is how we grow. So, as always, I'm gonna read a message from my father-in-law, Randy. Love you, man. He always sends me messages in the mornings, and they're always uplifting. And I believe more people need to do that, not for each other, right? And for people, right? Like send good morning used to be like a thing that people would try to uplift each other on, right? Not just say in passing. So when he sends me these messages, sometimes it really does make my morning or my day, the start, the beginning of it. It does make it feel rather good. Life is strange. You come with nothing and fight for everything. And in the end, you leave everything and go with nothing. Good morning. That's to say that you're going to have to remember that one, this life is a struggle. This world is a struggle. This realm that we are in is a struggle. We come in it expecting and having nothing to fight for: living, food, sexuality, clothes we wear, and even your the right to your own body. And now more than ever, I think that we need to start having real serious conversations. And when I say we, I mean men. Hi, how you doing? Right? cis men, I think we really should have had these conversations fucking 15, 20, 30 years ago. But, you know, we can only do what we can do. And I'm not, I'm just turning 29. Well, I'm just about to turn 30. I'm 29. I'm about to turn 30. And the last 10 years of my life have been the most extraordinary roller coaster. I can only describe it as an extraordinary roller coaster. An emotional roller coaster. Shout out to Vivian Green, one of the legends, right? But every day we wake up and we continue to move forward. And we know it's hard. We know shit's just so sometimes like, ugh, why? But we do. We get up every morning because we have the willpower, we have the dedication, and for those that we love and have to take care of, even if it's just ourselves, a cat, a pet turtle, a baby, fucking your if you just get up to go to work because you don't want to let your coworkers down or for anybody think you're a slob or whatever, then like you still have some type of motivation.
The scripture said my life is filled with picture-perfect prisms of mechanisms inspected for my depth to protect the victim from the dangers of pessimistic and fatal attractions. Haters paving the way when they became a distraction. It's a shame when the fame is meant to only sustain a certain type of energy in the frame. And I don't claim the permission cause I believe in myself. That's why I came to existence. You ain't making a difference, then what's your mission? They said that I was here given the task. I didn't ask, I just went and submitted my list of past presents the universe gave me for future records of research. All the things you protect is what you accept as a leader. If you love me, then hug me and do your best as a teacher. Cause all the karma is starting with you and that shit gets deeper. Booking a record place is like looking for extra leisure. Energize and feel alive and you're expected for Easter. I see the people weeping, they need a purpose to grow. Gotta do what I gotta do, I come with courage or so. Just so you know, I know how it goes. Word of the bros and all the dreamers that were driven till they curve on the road. They're dealing with famine and ducking from the word of the foes. The way they're examined is nothing that a surgeon could show. But who's to say you could stop them if you got dirt on your clothes? The only way you could blossom is if you turn to a rose. So I've been told, stick to my roots, stick to my craft, pick up my shoes, pick up a pad, pick up a pencil, let all the energy fill up my mental. Jot some shit down on the spot, better get some pots and the utensils, cut the beef, cook some vegan, roast some weed, that'll shift my breathing, but not too fast, cause I'm still eating all these raps, and it's still too weak when I relapse. I'm still peak when I come in that, drama don't breathe when I come in packs. I be on peak cause the body on peak, and the mind is on peace, and he probably gon' sleep when they write it on me, and the body on deep, if you really wanna see a nigga make an impact. I run shit like a machine, cause I be speaking all these facts. Suck my dick, you lipstick fiend, and keep on sleeping on these mats. Like a roach, blowing smoke, always cheating with these rats. Once you make the wrong approach, I bet they'll leave you in the trap. Take a step back, pick a seat, on the verge of history. Different breed, this is words of Rick and me. I'm self-made and I'm a boss, and that explains why you on me. Cause you always looking washed like you suffer from dirty laundry. What's up? Here I'm all alone, and everybody knows. Now you walking away, thinking I'm on my own. You got nothing else to say? Damn, that shit just brought me back memories. Like, for real, Motivation was actually the first song that I ever wrote when I was 14 years old, and I just wanted to give you out the original version, so feel free to sing along if you know it. That's it. Here I'm all alone, and everybody knows. Now you walking away, thinking I'm on my own. Nothing else to say, all we could do is pray. Hope that everything is gonna be okay. Here I'm all alone, and everybody knows. Now you're walking away, thinking I'm on my own. Nothing else to say, all we can do is pray. Hope that everything is gonna be okay. Now what is the point? 'Cause I don't understand why everybody's against me, trying to be a man, trying to focus on successions in my life, but it's hard. There is no motivation. Can you tell me why? Here I'm all alone, and everybody knows. Now you're walking away, thinking I'm on my own. Nothing else to say, all we can do is pray. Hope that everything is gonna be okay. Now what do we do? 'Cause now the light is gone. You were my everything, I just can't seem to move on. Trying not to show weakness aside, but it's hard 'cause there is no motivation. Can you just tell me why? Yeah, I'm all alone, and everybody knows. Now you're walking away, thinking I'm on my own. Nothing else to say, all we can do is pray. Hope that everything is gonna be okay. Yeah, and everybody knows. You're walking away, thinking I'm on my own. Nothing else to say, all we can do is pray. Hope that everything's gonna be okay.
Love yourself first, girl. Living in this world.
He probably got keys, doesn't pay his rent. He window shopping with his broke best friend. You can do better, do better. You can do better than him. He probably got keys, doesn't pay his rent. He window shopping with his broke best friend. You can do better, do better. You can do better than him.
You gotta listen to your mind and your soul. 'Cause everything you know, yeah, you know. Baby, listen to me. 'Cause I know a couple of things.
He probably got keys, doesn't pay his rent. He window shopping with his broke best friend. You can do better, do better. You can do better than him. He probably got keys, doesn't pay his rent. He window shopping with his broke best friend. You can do better, do better. You can do better than him.
Find another lover, someone who is for ya. Find another lover, someone who is for ya. He talking about he could pay the bills, picking a fight with you every second that he can, man. You could do better than him, man. Yeah, you could do better than him. I don't mean Bumble and I don't mean Hinge. Don't be swiping left or right, get another plan. Maybe at the library, maybe in the gym. Get a good man, girl, get a good man, girl. Find another lover, someone who is for ya. Find another lover, someone who is for ya.
He probably got keys, doesn't pay his rent. He window shopping with his broke best friend. You can do better, do better. You can do better than him. He probably got keys, doesn't pay his rent. He window shopping with his broke best friend. You can do better, do better. You can do better than him.
Rolling. All right, playback.
You won't get over, you won't get over, you won't get over me. City we came, city we came. You won't get over, you won't get over, you won't get over me.
Tell me what you need, I fulfill your fantasy. Keep trying
Halla to the Kings, Halla to the Queens, and everybody in between. I'm Radio Faheem. You're listening to On the Rise. I am. Ooh, that was You Won't by Janelle's Art. Y'all can follow her on Instagram under Janelle's Art. And make sure y'all find her on all y'all platforms. I'm talking about YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. I don't know why I drew a blank. iHeart. She's there. All right. If you couldn't tell today, I'm doing a bit of a female central music, based off the last few songs, right? And I say that because today I want to talk about a couple of the topics of women's struggles, right? And things that men need to get through our heads, things that the even a general public need to get through their heads. So I wanna do that. But before I go into that, I want to say if you are viewing this live, I want to thank you for tuning in. I am currently live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube all at the same time. You can also view the past recordings of these videos on YouTube under New Kemet Entertainment. There's a new Kemet Entertainment. You can also follow me personally, Radio Faheem, and see what shenanigans I'm going to be up to. And make sure y'all follow New Kemet Entertainment on Instagram. That's New Kemet, that's NKELLC on Instagram, so that y'all can stay up to date with what the business is coming up with, because we got some things in the works. Things in the works. We got some things in the works. Things in the... Anyway, this is the joy of doing the shit in your own room. Like, you get to act a little weird, and it creates like nice little moments. Anyway, also, just one more a bit of housekeeping. I'm accepting artist music. I'm accepting meetings with artists to get some more artist music onto the radio cast. So if you are an independent artist or know an independent artist that got some dope ass music that you're trying to get out there, and you want to try to start getting a little payment from your stuff, holla at your boy. Holla at me on Instagram, or message New Kemet on Instagram, and my assistant will get to you if I don't get to you, because sometimes my personal Instagram be flooded already. Like, whew, shit be getting buried, bro. Buried. Is there another thing of housekeeping that I had to do? I don't remember at the moment. So we're gonna move on to the topic. Um, let me ask a question, right? So I'm gonna start very simple, very simple. How much do you think we know about women's health, right? Just how much do you think we know about women's health? Um, it's a shame, but it's not a lot, right? Women are still underrepresented in many clinical trials relative to how often they actually get the disease being studied. For an example, 41 to 42% of participants in some cancer and psychiatric treatments this are women, despite being 51 to 60% of the patients, right? So they're under half represented in the trials themselves, in the things themselves, but they're they're more than half of people who contract the disease themselves. And you can ask yourself, why is that, right? But like, see, this is in America in particular, right? This is in America, and for some odd reason, you're gonna find a lot of backward stats in America. Hmm. You're gonna find a large overall number, a smaller population that's either reaping the benefits or causing the problem, with a low rate of solutions, when you have a larger population that's a smaller percentage of the problem with a much larger percentage of solutions. Hmm. Yeah. American society is interesting. But we'll go down that rabbit hole a long another time. We don't have time for that. Um but if you think about that, that's crazy. Like w- essentially for decades, most lab animals are only studied like using male lab animals. I understand sexism back then up into an extent, but like I guess I understand the Neanderthalic of a human society and sexism, right? Um, but with that being said, you couldn't even choose female lab animals. You can't make this shit up, bro. So much so that it 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 was it was literally like maybe 5 to 1 or 6 to 1 was the rate that like it was 6 males to every for every one female there was 6 males being studied and even considered. And I think even that one female probably was just happenstance. Cause like when you think of just the rate that we don't know or society has yet to develop the fact that women are 50% of the fucking population. I mean, they outnumber men. Let's be honest, they outnumber men. But because of the two species, they're half of fucking humanity, and we know less than fucking 1/3 relative or a half relative to what we less than no 1/3 to 1/3 to 1/4 to 1/3 of what we know of the male body. Like, yeah, we know physical structures, but as far as like functions and shit like that, like niggas couldn't fucking give the time of day. And you wonder why they just for a long time birth control is still, but like was causing crazy side effects back in the day. And like I'm a male, I can't speak on it, and I know somebody's gonna be like, "What do you mean back in the day? I'm still getting crazy side effects now." Yeah, but like I mean, things gotten a little better from what I can see. Things have gotten a little better from the females I talk to. Things have gotten a little better with that, but it still hasn't gotten good enough. I'm not saying it's good enough. It's not good enough. Um, which now that brings me to the next topic is that brings me to the next topic, which is rape, right? And I already did a viewer disclaimer in the beginning, and I hope y'all bear with me through this one. But we need to talk about this, right? We desperately do, um, because uh, it's roughly suggested, right, that around 90% of rape victims that are female. 90%. Not saying males don't get it. We get it too. We can go through that a whole nother time, and we're going to, because that's a whole nother underrated topic that we need to talk about. But we're not talking about that right now. I believe it's today Women's History Month. That's funny. It's just if it just so happens to be on March. I think that's what it is. Anyway, and that's of those that are reported, right? Uh, well, they say about 2/3 of rape goes unreported. 2/3 of rape cases go unreported, and those that do go reported, that happen to get reported, don't get followed up on. Less than a quarter of those get followed up on, and the age doesn't matter either. No, the age doesn't matter. It says the Bureau of Justice statistics analysis found that in 2013 there are roughly 2.1 rapes or sexual assaults per 1,000 females age 12 or older per year. Age 12. I seen a clip earlier and it was a reel, and it was talking about um how men are talking about the Epstein files, and men are talking about, oh my God, could you believe the crazy shit that's in the Epstein files? And this chick was like, I haven't heard not one woman say that. I haven't heard not one woman say that, because that's such a reality. It's such a hard reality that they have to live with every day. I think it was a female comedian. Such a hard reality that we have to deal with, that that men don't consider the constant danger women are in just by existing, and the sex propaganda that the world has been under for however fucking long. You know, at one point we valued women and worshipped, and the next point we took that and turned it into complete use and obedience, and sexual pleasure for men and procreation only. And now they're getting to a mid-range where, I mean, they still, we'll talk about that in the next part, but they still don't even have body autonomy to choose what the fuck they want to do with their own bodies. Men, could you imagine? Let me put this into perspective for men. Let me put this into perspective for you, men. Men, could you imagine if somebody said, "I'm going to cut your balls off," and you had no choice in the matter? No choice in the matter. They told you something was wrong with your gut, but they need to cut your balls off. Just gone, right? How how does that thought make you feel? That's what a hysterectomy used to be back. Like, and I'm pretty sure it's still going on, where they're just scooping wombs out of women, making women barren, mostly happening to black and brown women. I didn't even look up the stats to that one. That was off the freestyle, but I know that based off the amount of women that I personally know in my spread out and traveling life that have had hysterectomies done. And come to find out, it didn't need to be fucking done. Could you imagine? Could you fucking imagine the amount of hatred, of evilness that you have to have in you to say, I'm gonna take the super uniqueness of this person away from them because I can, not because it's needed. I'm not saying hysterectomies aren't needed. I'm saying there's a lot of them that are unjustified in medical history in America. There's a lot of them. And it goes all the way back. That goes back for a long time. Most of the shit that we know about the human body is because they decided to cut open black and brown people without anesthesia. Let's not forget about the psychiatric ward. Did people forget that we had psychiatric wards in America? Did people forget that? Oh, we like to remember for horror movies, but did people forget that? Did you know how? And this is off the top of the dome too. Did you know that they used to commit women in the psychiatric ward for having sexual thoughts and being horny? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine, men? Let me put this in a perspective for you. Let me put this in a fucking perspective for you. Could you imagine getting hard and somebody locking you up for getting hard? You ain't whip out. You just got hard, or you licked your lips. You looked a little too intently at a female. Boom, arrested, taken away, drugged up, doped up, and dripped out. And I'm not mean dripped out as far as style. I'm talking zombie, nigga. Could you imagine that? For a woman, for a woman that wanted to to have a career or a hobby was a mental illness. We don't often like to remember the hard times in history because it makes us feel bad. It makes us feel like, oh, we got to make up for it. And yes, there's a lot of retroactive shit we got to make up for. And unfortunately, that's the responsibility of that's part of the responsibility of the new generation. You got to come on, buddy. Yes, we wasn't the ones responsible for that deed. I wasn't a male that beat on and hit women or that experimented on women. But does that mean I have to ignore the fact that there were large groups and societies and whole fucking industries of men based on that? Based to do that? Come on, the porn industry. See now, OnlyFans and everything is out, and everybody and you can do it willy nilly on your terms. But don't forget, there's a lot of sex trafficking went to the porn industry. Like, let we can have things and still acknowledge the terrible history behind it, and then make it better for the next generation. And at the same time, we have to retroactively correct the harm that is currently and still affecting those here today. Those here today. Everybody, we want to talk about we want to talk about reparations for black people. Yeah. But what about reparations for women? Hmm? What about reparations for women? What about the pink tax? Shit that women need for their bodies, or else we as men as a society and has trained the society to shame them if they don't keep up to a fucking standard. What about that? They have to buy these necessary things that their body has to naturally go through. It's crazy because man, we don't have shit that like yeah you can stink and buy deodorant. I'm not talking about that. They have periods. They have menstruals once, sometimes twice a month, in which they have to spend money to get the necessary thing that will it, and then it's charged super high, and then it's just super fucking expensive. Cause man, we can pay for a $2 condom, but if until you either live with a female and go shopping for them, not just live with and go shopping with, no, live with a female and go shopping for them, we could never, you wouldn't even it's stupid the amount of pressure that we do that with. We need to do better. We it became apparent to me that like a lot of women started admitting to me that I know or that I've encountered that they had like hysterectomies or unnecessary things done to or I wouldn't say unnecessary but like suggested procedures done to them because I can't say unnecessary, suggested procedures done to them that made their abilities to have children or regulate their hormones, have a regular period, or even just the fluctuation of their weight and swings of their mood are permanently altered. The temperature of their bodies prematurely permanently altered because a male doctor couldn't or because as a society we as men didn't give two shits enough to learn that much about women as we learned about men. And we don't have too much extra shit going on with our bodies, which is amazing. Because if you're a true fucking believer of science, I would have wanted to go into the fucking the specimen that has more going with it, right? I would have wanted to learn more about the specimen that has the more of the difference. Yeah, we're one and the same, but we're different. And if they like to say men and women are so alike, then why is the success rate of medication so low for women that it is for men if our anatomies are so alike? Because the arrangement and the physical makeup sometimes inside may be, but and not even that. And not even that. Because ovaries are not, right? We don't have ovaries as men. It's just a fucking shame. We used to respect, cherish, value, and revere women. And in recent times, women don't even have the right to choose whether or not they want to have their a child. Whether or not they can't choose. And that's the craziest fucking thing to me. Because it's an extraordinary gift that they have, that they bless us with, that they grant us this permission to have the copies of our clones, to have copies of us as men. They chose to do that. And yes, it's copies of them too. It's 50-50, right? But like, they still chose because they're going to have a copy of them regardless. We don't have to be the ones in the equation. And we forget that. We forget that just as much of kings as men are, the beautiful nature of women is they're more than queens and more than goddesses. They're the queens of goddesses, if that even makes sense. It's a shame. It's a shame that we don't take into consideration and respect them anymore enough to it's a shame that we don't take them into consideration and respect them anymore enough to proceed further with just simple, very simple studies. And I'm not talking any nationality of women in particular. I'm talking women, period. Because one woman, all women, my mom, your mom, aunts, uncles, for the simple fact that they give birth to you. You're sitting here breathing. They forever will be queens.
Yeah. Gotta say what I wanna say, man. I got an infinity for these hoes. Amateur to pros and flawed with my regard. Cause the way that I was rose, mama taught me about love. Treat women with respect. And my daddy turned around and he taught me the 4 F's. That's find them, fool them, fuck them and forget them. Ma tried to do your way, but it ain't work when I was with them. You treat them like shit, seem like they more committed. But I kill myself slowly every time I hurt your feelings. That was my dilemma. Back when I was a little one, no affection, disrespecting when it come down women. We was running game, getting brain, running trains. Call you out your name, right to gain respect. What a shame, shit is lame. Cause we got mothers, sisters, and cousins, grandmothers. Some of us even left it in and got daughters. I wonder how could I change my heart? You not an object, you a goddess, that was from the start. I'm way too smart to be rocking how I'm rocking, jocking how I'm jocking. Even coming out of pocket just to plug it in your socket. And we rap about it often like it's cool. I ain't trying to change the rules, I'm just saying that we gotta pay some dues to the black woman. Yeah, shit a shame, we done caused a lot of pain to the black woman. Yeah, turn our back and let the devil do his thing to the black woman. Yeah, and you gave birth to everything you don't deserve. That woman, this here for the black woman. In fact, woman, let me hear your pain. 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 I hope this help you hear your pain. Yeah. on to it, see how it feel. I look around and all I see is BBLs. I see you well, that load so heavy, just a tote it need a CDL. And I mean well when I say what I'm about to say. When you perfect in my eyes, you don't have to change. I love your hips, love your thighs, love the way you shake. I love your lips, love your smile and the warmth it brings. They say it's hard to see the picture when you in the frame, so you in the mirror ignoring the things that make you great. Now who's to blame for the self-hate? Is it the media, the rappers, or the models with the self-tapes? Is it the entertainment industry that fabricates the narrative that you gotta look a certain way? Or is it us? I don't have the answers, but I wanna make a song that can heal this cancer and reveal the standard of beauty that we go off. I honor you when all your glow-ups, I go off for the black woman, yeah. Shit a shame, we done caused a lot of pain to the black woman, yeah. Turn our back and let the devil do his thing to the black woman, yeah. And you gave birth to everything you don't deserve, that woman. This hip for the black woman. In fact, woman, let me hear your pain. Let me hear your pain. Let me hear your pain. Get all that out. Let me hear your pain. Queen, I hope this help you hear your pain. Yeah. Yeah.
Clutch my hand through the sequence, dance with me through the fear. I was praying to find somebody like you here. Ghosts call my name, they're tugging at you too. But we love like nobody's watching when we're alone in this room. I think I'm falling for you. Will you fall for me too? It's more than a drug, it's oxygen. I need you as a lover, can settle for friends. I know you heard how the story's supposed to end. Could this be where a fairy tale begins? Night.
Just be a slut, who gives a fuck? Ladies, throw your hands in the motherfucking net if you wanna let them know that you really that bitch. I just don't care, I just don't care. Free spirit, no limit, yeah, to throw my chair. Ladies, throw your hands in the motherfucking net if you wanna let them know that you really that bitch. I just don't care, I just don't care. Free spirit, no limit, yeah, to throw my chair. Where the pretty gang at? Where the pretty gang at? Bad bitches link up, gotta stay in our bag. Don't fuck no man who ain't paying a tab. Tryna kill your vibe, don't listen to that. I'm a female mix, soprano and Slim Shady. First place scoring the points like Tom Brady. I'm crazy, he had enough of me lately. Pussy so good, you never can leave, baby. I am everything he want in his life, and I get everything I want, roll the dice. When you order it, girl, no controlling the ice. Whether I'm dressed plain Jane or I'm dripping in ice. Ladies, throw your hands in the motherfucking net if you wanna let them know that you really that bitch. I just don't care, I just don't care. Free spirit, no limit, yeah, to throw my chair. Ladies, throw your hands in the motherfucking net if you wanna let them know that you really that bitch. I just don't care, I just don't care. Free spirit, no limit, yeah, to throw my chair. Write bars like a puzzle, little bitch, call me Sudoku. Intelligence to get the reference needed, I am old school. I need to see these young cats step up and up, kinda hopeful. Can't be the only one killing this shit, I'm going postal. Got them tight in the chest, asthma attack. Don't beef with these bitches, not back to back. Been up, motherfucker, no tit for tat. Bitch, I shine forever, no fade to black. Never got no skips on the album tracks. Pretty thing priceless, would you look at that? Oh, she real smart too, and the bitch is bad. If you don't, I will put a ring on that. Ladies, throw your hands in the motherfucking net if you wanna let them know that you really that bitch. I just don't care, I just don't care. Free spirit, no limit, yeah, to throw my chair.
That was Christina Fuego with I Am. Whew. Shorty got bars. Shorty got bars. God darn it. Hold on. Whatever. It is what it is. Y'all gonna see the next song that's coming up anyway. So before I go, because like I said, it's gonna be a little bit of a shorter show than usual. Sorry, I was late. I know. I wanted to talk about a brief history of abortion, right? Just a very overall, just brief history, right? In the United States in particular. And abortion in the United States has gone from being widely practiced to mostly legal before the late 1800s to heavily criminalized by the 1900s to federally protected by 1973 and back to state by state fight again after 2022. I mentioned abortion because, as I said earlier, women don't even have the rights to choose what they want to do with their own bodies. And just that thought alone, that acceptance, that realization that whether or not, well, goddamn, I'm trying to have a show here. Fucking New York City. It's hot. I gotta have that window open. Sorry, y'all. Nigga. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to melt. But I couldn't imagine not having a say in what I get to do with my body, right? If I come in for a procedure or something and they say, well, no, that's, you know, because my body, my choice, right? And this is why you have waivers and everything else for people to sign, for people to have, for those that do the procedures to not be liable if something was to go wrong. But when it comes to women, they don't get that choice. a bunch of old white men, or old men, period, because I don't even think it's just white men anymore, because at this fucking rate, you can see the misogyny leaking out of niggas' pores like it's hair and stubble on a 5 o'clock shadow. It's disgusting. Fucking when there's a bunch of men, old ass men, that don't know what it's like to have a period, that don't know what it's like to grow breasts, that don't know what it's like to be hawked at and harassed from base damn near the time you were born. All your life to be looked at as a commodity, a piece of meat, a toy, a pleasure, an object, a trophy. All your life, just for you to make a decision, as women don't get to choose what they want to do with the life that's in their body. And yes, you can go into a whole nother discussion. We can have a whole nother discussion about men and having a say so in that whole thing and everything else too. We can go into that discussion another time. But let's take this one step at a time. And let's, and like I said before, let's have a reparations for women, because it's been too long that we have used women to sell products, to be the face of things, and to get the ball rolling, or taking ideas. No proper credit given at the fuck all, let alone proper representation. It's been far too long that we make women produce generations and generations and generations for our nefarious needs as men in society. It's been too long that we have taken advantage of that and not looked at that as the blessing that it is and the gift that it truly is. Because women have a finite number of eggs. Men, we make sperm until we don't anymore or whatever. But women are born with the number of eggs that they have in, and once those eggs are gone, they're gone. And women, it's your choice whether you want to have children or not. But remember, once they're gone, they're gone. Some women freeze their eggs. Look into it. Saving your shit for later. Like a memory card on the PS2. I know you still got your memory card on the PS2. You know what's in that case. It's in that Legend of Zelda case. Oh, I mean, ooh, I was thinking of the wrong system. It's in that Final Fantasy case. Wrong system, wrong RPG game. But we need to do better as a society, and we can start with acknowledging the extreme difference between men and women, and especially not just the equality of pay or societal access or promotions at a work and a job. Not even just that, but back to medical, back to allergy pills. Fuck, they didn't even care that there was toxins in pads and tampons, and these women have to hold these on their reproductive. Could you imagine if they told? Could you imagine if they told men Heinz underwear was lined with fentanyl, and that's what's been giving you white men erectile dysfunction? Could you imagine that? It would be a fucking uproar. Heinz would be out of business the next fucking day. I would have thought, as a millennial, as a late millennial, as a 96 baby, you would have thought that maybe we would have come a bit further from the horror stories that you read about in history class, or what you see on a Medea movie. But we haven't. Still everyday reality for women. And I, for one, have lost too many friends from domestic violence. I don't want to lose anymore. And I don't want to lose the ones I have now. Too many female friends, too many women that are just in my life, period, that won't get the proper treatment because American medicine never gave two shits to look into it. Medicine, period, never gave two shits to look into women's health problems, PCOS and shit like that. And I'm not saying this because maybe it's Women's History or Women's Health History Month or whatever month it is. I don't give a shit. This is something I want to say because this is something that we need to talk about on a daily basis, at least weekly. Because without women, there is no future. There is no procreation. And I don't know, maybe there's people out there that's working on trying to change that. I don't want to change that, though. I like coexisting with women, unlike Nick Fuentes. I like the arguing with women, unlike Nick Fuentes. Because they just add a certain aspect to my life, whether it's platonic, romantic, or familial, that men just don't do. They just do. And I'm grateful for all the women in my life. I'm grateful for all the women that have come out in and out of my life. Because it takes a lot every day to be a woman and to trust a man. And there's been a lot of women who have trusted me with things that they said and done or had done to them. And I salute y'all every day for being strong enough to still walk outside, walk with a smile, and for y'all to not blame every man for the way majority seem to treat you. That right there takes a certain level of maturity men aren't ready for. That right there takes a certain level of maturity men aren't ready for. But we're too hypnotized by your breasts and waist to even have that conversation. Halla to the Kingz, halla to the Queens. I'm Radio Faheem. Thank you for tuning in to On the Rise.
Call me off it days, you amazing. End up in the bed making faces. Only one don't need no replacing. Slow down. My trophy ain't no bigger prize. Prototype you come from the sky. Tell you that 20 million times. Nobody gon' see it like me. I hypnotize, yeah, yeah. Hypnotize, yeah, yeah. Sexy crimes, yeah, yeah. Girl, you got me going through it. Hypnotize, yeah, yeah. Hypnotize, yeah, yeah. Sexy crimes, yeah. Girl, take it off. Blindfold there, but I walking. I know love got me cautious. I wanna see what it takes. Find out, cross that bridge. Affectionate, passion is definite. Action, especially smashing. Slow down. My trophy ain't no bigger prize. Prototype you come from the sky. Tell you that 20 million times. Nobody gon' see it like me. I'm hypnotized, yeah, yeah. Hypnotized, yeah, yeah. Sexy crimes, yeah, yeah. Girl, you got me going through it. Hypnotized, yeah, yeah. Hypnotized, yeah, yeah. Sexy crimes, yeah. Go take it off.
Como me tiene hipnotizada, no me ve como soy un rara. Cuando te veo mis ojos hablan, mi amor, ¿qué pasa si quieres? Como lo tengo hipnotizado y no quiero que te vas de mi lado. Quiero ver si nos recordamos o nos quedamos para siempre. En mi mente te digo, papi, que tú eres inteligente. Que venga rápido y a donde me la lleve. Te doy la llave que la abre, a la puerta no hay problema cuando viene. Y la gente
this far. I never knew I'd fall this hard. I never wanna miss your call. What's wrong with me? Hypnotized, yeah, yeah. Hypnotized, yeah, yeah. Sexy crimes, yeah, yeah. Girl, you got me going through it. Hypnotized, yeah, yeah. Hypnotized, yeah, yeah. Sexy crimes, yeah. Go take it all.
Call, I pick it up. Need a hand, I lift you up. Not three, not two, the one, the main priority. Need someone that you can trust. Need someone to call your bluff. Know the way straight to your heart, the main priority. My number one, make you my one, my number one, my main priority. Make you my one, my number one, make you my one, my main priority. On my mind, everything else don't exist. Never come last in my life, unless I save you for the best. Never too preoccupied, my priority is on you at any time. And you need more than a friend.
Call me when you win some money. No excuse on the way right now. Text me that you need my love, okay, like I'm on the way right now. Number one thing, my main subject. Anything just to see you smile. Reassure you that it's nothing. Pick up the phone and dial.
Call, I pick it up. Need a hand, I lift you up. Not three, not two, the one, the main priority. He's someone that you could trust. He's someone to call your bluff. Know the way straight to your heart, the main priority. My number one, make you my one, my number one, my main priority. Make you my one, my number one, make you my one, my main priority. My main priority.
It's Friday night, yo. I ain't got a list to do. I gotta talk to my God, 'cause the rent been passed past due. No worries about a thing, 'cause I've been feeling blue. But I gotta do what I gotta do. I said on and on and on. I keep falling like Rolling Stone. I said on and on and on. I keep falling like Rolling Stone. It's Sunday morning. I just got some bad news. I gotta talk to my God, 'cause it's people I know. It's black on black and white on black and boys in blue. But I gotta do what I gotta do. But can I get a real shot? Take a real shot. Hey, real shot. Take a real shot.
And that was Rolling by Imani. That's IMVNI off of her album The 11th Hour. Very, very dope performance. I believe I have to go through a lot of stuff. Man, I have so much stuff backed up and stacked up. It's crazy. But I'm gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. But I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all could find me on Instagram under Radio Faheem. Y'all can uh, tune in on Facebook under Radio Faheem. Y'all can tune in on Instagram. Instagram under Radio Faheem. Like I said, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch under New Kemet Entertainment. That's New KEMET Entertainment. I'd like to thank everybody that flew by on Instagram, aka Promotions 21. Thank you for the follow. That's the first time I've ever seen like a follow actually pop up in the little comments thing, because usually they'll tell me afterwards, which is interesting. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in on Facebook. Everybody that liked it on Facebook. I like to thank everybody that's tuned in on Twitch and YouTube. Like I said, follow me there and subscribe, and drop some comments and drop an artist in the comments if y'all want to hear more artists. I need more independent and artists that are making dope music, and especially female artists, because for some odd reason it's just a shortage that's been coming across. I've been coming up with something that's been hitting my table, and Monday we're gonna premiere some more new joints, some more new additions that I would like to add to the roster that I'm trying to get in contact with. One of the reasons why I do this is because if I blast, maybe if I play their music and blast them, they'll contact me, right? But holla to the Kings, holla to the Queens, and everybody in between. I'm Radio Faheem. Thank y'all for tuning in.